Hello everyone. So the topic for today would be comparative cost advantage. This theory was first developed by David Ricardo, a British economist during 19th century that attributed the costs and benefits of international trade to the difference in relative opportunity cost of producing the same commodities among countries. In Ricardo's theory, which was based on labor theory of value, of Hello everyone. So the topic for today would be comparative cost advantage. This theory was first developed by David Ricardo, a British economist during 19th century that attributed the cost and benefits of international trade to the difference in the relative opportunity cost of producing the same commodities among countries. In Ricardo's theory, which was based on labor theory of value of production, the fact that one country should produce everything more effectively or efficiently than another was not an argument against international trade. In short, comparative advantage is the circumstance in which an entity gives up comparatively less or has a lower opportunity cost than some other entity when making the same amount of the same product. Okay, so let's look at the assumptions. There are two countries, two commodities, and one factor of production. Here the labor is fixed and homogeneous. It has to be a free trade. There is zero transport cost and there has to be barter trading. So let's look more closely at the comparative advantage with the same example. Again, Harry can make 3 bird houses or 1 table, and Steve can make 2 bird houses or 1 table. For comparative advantage, we need to figure out what makes more sense for Harry and Steve to produce. In order to do that, it is useful to compare opportunity cost. Harry sacrifices 3 bird houses for every table he produces, so the opportunity cost for making 1 table is 3 bird houses. The 3 bird houses he could have built in the time it takes him to build 1 table, and the opportunity cost of making 1 bird house is 1/3 of the table. So now let's look at the Steve. The opportunity cost of Steve making 1 table is just 2 bird houses, while the opportunity cost of Steve making 1 bird house is half of a table. According to the law of comparative advantage, each person should produce the good for which there is lower opportunity cost than another producers or other producers. Okay. So Harry's opportunity cost for making 1 bird house, 1/3 of a table, is lower than Steve's opportunity cost for making 1 bird house, half of a table. Therefore, it makes more sense for Harry to make bird house, and this works out well for Steve too. It looks like Steve's opportunity cost for making 1 table, 2 bird houses, is lower than Harry's opportunity cost for making 1 table, 3 bird houses. Therefore, it makes more sense for Steve to make tables. If Harry focuses on bird houses and Steve makes tables, they will end up making 3 bird houses and a table at the end of the day, as opposed to 2 bird houses and 1 table if they were to swap. Okay, so let's look at the example between countries. Okay. So now let's look at the absolute advantage. So here, the Portugal has absolute cost advantage in producing both the goods, that is the wine and cloth. Okay. So now let's look at the comparative advantage. So while Portugal has absolute cost advantage in both goods, it has comparative cost advantage in wine as 0.66 is less than 0.9. So Portugal should specialize in wine and export it for cloth in exchange. Similarly, while England has absolute cost disadvantage in both goods, its comparative cost disadvantage is less in cloth, as 1.11 is less than 1.5. So England should specialize in cloth and export it for wine in exchange. Okay, so there are few limitations here. First is the limiting assumption. So there is actually no need to explain the theory on the basis of labor theory of value, as labor is not the only factor of production and it's non-homogeneous. Okay. So the second is complete specialization is not possible nor desirable, as complete specialization is possible only if the two trading countries are identical in size with similar taste. Okay. The third one is the supply-sided theory that ignores the demand side. So this theory assumes that the prices are determined on the basis of only the cost of production. Okay. The fourth one, not applicable to the developing countries. The less developed countries aspire more degree of self-sufficiency to reduce political dominance of developed countries. The fifth is it neglects the role of economies of scale. This is also a major cause of trade, which explains large trade follows among apparently similar nations. Okay, so that's all about absolute cost advantage. Thank you so much.